your copies. All right, so name of the Financial Bible Study tonight is, where will you be living at when you turn 85? So that's a good question. You got to live somewhere, right? If you're 85 years old, you got to live somewhere. Okay, so we're going to discuss some things about costs and old age, and the time going by quick now, and there's a lot of people out there that's having some issues with where they're gonna live. Sometimes you're gonna have a spouse that's gonna go before the other one, so maybe one of them will live with the spouse, the other one won't. So the other one that's left is going to have to figure out what they're going to do. And then if you're single, that's another issue. Or you don't have any family close by. So it's something you need to think about. And all you got to do is look at your own family and friends and see what they're doing at 85. And then you look at them and see what they got going on. Then you look at yourself and say, well, I'd be able to do the same thing. I don't know. All right, so we're going to have an opening Bible scripture. We're going to go to definitions. We're going to go to introduction. Discussion 1, we're going to talk about multiple living options for someone 85 years old. Discussion number 2, costs for living facilities. Discussion 3 is other Bible scriptures that's related to this topic. So there's a picture of some elderly people. They look pretty good, don't they? Don't they? Well, I ain't getting no amens on that, so I guess I'm the only one that think they look good. But anyway, the opening Bible scripture is Psalm 92:14, Amplified Bible version. It says, "Growing in grace, they will still thrive and bear fruit and prosper in old age. They will flourish and be vital and fresh, rich in trust and love and contentment." That's encouraging, isn't it? So as you get older, this country, and I've lived in several countries, I'm telling you, people overseas they take care of their people. They, especially when I was in Korea, I noticed, I work with Korean soldiers every day, you talk to them, and they're obligated, especially the oldest son or the oldest child is obligated to take care of the parents until they die. And then I remember, I'm old enough to remember, my great-grandmother living with my grandparents. My father grew up with his grandmother. He didn't know no different. She was in the house when he was born. So, and you had those multi-generation, but you don't have that now. I mean, some people do it. I'm not going to discount that, but you just don't see that anymore. And I think our relatives had to do it out of necessity because they couldn't afford to send nobody nowhere. I remember going to people's houses, you always saw at least 2-3 generations in that house. That was very common back then, especially like they in the country. But you don't see that no more. I'm not saying it's a negative or positive, I'm just making an observation here in this statement. So let's go through some definitions. Okay, so what's the definition of elderly? In the United States, the term elderly is often used to describe somebody's age, 65 and up. And the reason why is because that's when your Medicare starts. And it used to be, before they changed the rules, you start drawing your Social Security at 65. But now, it's based on when you were born now. So right now, the earliest, you could draw Social Security at 62 if you want to, early, what they call early Social Security, but you only get 75% of what you could get if you wait. Right now, the latest years right now is 67. So basically, if you want to get your full 100% Social Security, you have to wait till around 67 now. But if you can get your Social Security anytime between 62 and 67, if you want to. But it's based on percentages. You get 100% at 67, you get 75% at 62, and every year, in months, it goes up to a little bit higher percentage. So, but the problem with that is if you draw it before you get your 100% eligibility, you only could make right now $23,000 a year without them taking it. Because if you make more than that, they're going to keep up with it, and then they're going to take it out of your Social Security. They may do it all at once. They don't do it gradually, because I talked to some people like that. So, but if you wait till your full age, of 67, you can work as much as you want and make as money, all the money you want, no penalty. So that's another issue right there. So, nursing home, it's a residential facility providing 24-hour care for individuals who need more assistance than can be provided at home, but who don't require, a stay in the hospital. So, these hospitals, they get you in there, they want you out. Either you going to a rehab hospital, or you going to a nursing home, or you going to live. You going somewhere, or you going home. Once they through with you, they don't keep you there no more. Assisted living facilities with residential setting that provides housing and personal care services to individuals who need help with daily living activities, but not the intensive medical care of a nursing home. So that's where my father is right now. He's in assisted living facility. Now, at first he was in a nursing home because we had to get find an opening, and his insurance that he had, not saying it was bad insurance, but it's Medicare Advantage and United Health. Some people around here don't like using them, so we had to wait till the opening for somebody that could use it, and so that's where he is now. And he's been there since December, but he was in nursing home at first, and I tell you what, but that time he was in there, he said, "I don't want to ever come back to a nursing home again." Even though Sister Marcella was kind of working at that time, but nursing home compared to assisted facility is not the same. I guarantee you that. So it's like almost living at home, except and you can get spoiled over there because they do stuff for you. I mean, you don't have to cook. They go eat your food or whatever. They come in your room, clean it up. You ain't gotta do nothing. And if you have to have assistance with the restroom or whatever, they'll do that. And give you medicine, bring your medicine to you. Make sure you eat it. You take it on time. You don't take too much. All right, question number 1. Anybody got a question? I don't know if I can answer my own questions. You have a mic, Brother Tony? That's loud. That's hooked up. Just in case somebody want to talk tonight. And I think Brian's up there. You up there, Brian? Are we on Facebook? Okay. But the first question is, what plans have you made for your living arrangements when you turn 85? Does anybody have an idea where they're going to be living at? I mean, if you have children, that's the idea. If you assume that you may live alone with your spouse, that's the idea. If you have a paid-off house, you can stay at home, but it depends on whether you can take care of yourself or not. You may have to have in-home care. That's what I plan on doing. I'm going to stay in my house as long as I can until they take me out of there. So if I got to pay somebody to come in and take care of me, that's what I'm going to do. That's why I still work. I work for a reason, believe me. So I don't think about tomorrow. I think about 20 years from now. My mind's always out in the future. Always. Been like that since I was a child. So the thing is, you got to make a plan. So we're going to talk about some options here. So anybody got an idea where they plan to be at 85? Well, you already said you want to be living, right? Okay, so now, where you going to be living at? Home? Who's going to take care of you? Well, it's super later. You're going to outlive her. I mean, she's going to outlive you. You got the mic? This is a loaded question. I did this on purpose. If nothing else, I want you to start thinking.
Yeah, but I said home. Anybody didn't hear me. And God already made that's possible for me. Okay. I can be home, but now you still got to wonder what type of condition you will be in at 85.
Right.
None of us don't know that right now.
You don't know.
You don't know. But you said plan.
But your condition is going to determine where you're going to be living at. Exactly. And we're going to talk about that.
Or this decision you will make.
Right. So your plan right now is to be at home because you should be in good condition.
I hope so. Right. I pray so.
Okay.
I'm going to believe so.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what this is all about. That's why I said, you can pray about all this stuff. See, one thing I like about the Bible, you can teach anything out of the Bible because a lot of people get too focused on traditional teaching out the Bible and don't understand that you can live your whole life by the Bible, period. And I be trying to prove this with these financial Bible classes. I want people to think out of the box. because we have to live outside those doors. And everything that we do is not spiritual. So we have to have a spiritual life, of course, but we also have to live in the natural world. So these things are natural here, with God's help, of course. All right, so let's go to in-home and care. That's what you're talking about, right? Being at home, but, so in-home care refers to did I read that already? No, I didn't. In-home care on page 2, refers to a range of services provided to individuals in a home to support their health, well-being, and independence. So some people have people come in the house. They pay them to come in there. They may only need them for the day. They may do some light cleaning, cooking, whatever, and then they go home. But then you can pay somebody to stay there 24 hours. That depends on whether or not how bad you want to stay in your house, as long as you have the resources. Because see, the thing about this, Medicare ain't gonna pay none of it, and Medicaid either. That's what we gotta think about, how we gonna do this. And now Medicare pay for your medical part. I take that back, but Medicaid is not gonna pay for nobody coming in your house unless you're destitute. You know what destitute means? That means you don't own nothing. Go ahead. Because I know some people right now that they're in nursing homes, they had to get rid of almost all of their assets so they can have Medicaid pay. I know 3 people right now had to go through that. 3. Yes.
There's a company that extended from Medicaid called Continued Long-Term Care, and it can be available. This is under Medicaid. It can be available to you where caregivers will come out 6 days a week, but they'll provide maybe 2 or 3 hours of services. But Medicaid will cover for those services.
Well, the reason why I'm having the caveat right now, you must haven't seen that bill that's being going through Congress right now. Medicaid is cut big time. And if they pass it the way it is right now, a lot of those services, you might not even get them. People need to pay attention to what's going on. I pay attention to politics, and Medicaid was one of the things that they targeted to cut. And they cut it deep. And the thing is, you're really going to have hardly nothing to get it, especially if you're going to a nursing home. Some of the in-home care stuff may not be there because they cut it so much. And if they pass it the way it is, it's not going to be the same Medicaid we thought that we've been used to the last few years. We got people in this country, politicians don't want any government health care, period. They don't want it. Now, of course, every congressperson get one thing that they don't like. They got government health care. That's why I don't understand it. They all got government health care, but they want to get rid of everybody else's. I never understood that. Read the bill. The bill is online. All you gotta do is read it. It's 900 pages. Now you ain't gotta read all of it. What they do, you can put a search on anything you want on that thing, and it'll tell you what they're proposing and what they're not. You don't have to, or you can go to another website and they'll just break it down by the highlighted things, or you just look for certain things. All right, let's go on. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I want to make a comment. With Medicaid, a lot of individuals make too much to qualify for Medicaid.
That's right.
But then they don't make enough to get into a decent nursing facility.
Home. It's a catch-22.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, you can, like Marcella said, you can have people come to the house, because my grandmother had, I know some other people got it, Sister George, she got people coming to her place. But look what she has. She has nothing. My grandmother, she had a house and that was it, 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. But they did have programs like that. But see, you got to remember those programs are based on funding. If the funding is not there, you can't assume it's going to be for you. That's why you got to plan for your own stuff, because you don't know what's going to happen when you turn 85. So that's why I'm trying to tell everybody right now, like I said, these Medicaid cuts is going to occur because in order to fulfill that bill, for the tax breaks, they got to cut stuff. And Medicaid and SNAP and some other stuff are the main thing they're getting rid of. or reducing anyway. Number 2, if you have a choice, would you live with your children or assisted living facility? No, living at home is not an option in this case because you can't. They say you can't live by yourself right now. So who would you rather live with? Assisted living facility? I don't want nobody to call their kids out, but you don't have to hate your kids. I mean, dislike your kids, not to want to live with them, but you might not want to live with your kids, whether you love them or not. It's not a question. But you may have to come down to that. Or I could have put nursing home too, but I didn't. It could be you live with your adult children or live in assisted living facility. Now, I can tell you about my father. He prefer to live in an assisted facility. He don't want to live with none of us. He'll tell you that in a minute. He told us that already. He said, if I can't do for myself, I want to be somewhere where they can take care of me. Because he don't want us doing it. Even though some things had happened, but but he had no choice in that case. But he told me that a long time ago. That's why he's not at home right now. He's right where he need to be until he gets better. Because he knows certain things he can't do on his own yet. My dad's very smart. He might not say too much about it, but he understands reality, and that's why he's still there. And I think he's making a good decision. Now, of course, he has to pay for it. It's not free. He don't get no assistance at all. Period. That's why you have to save your money and be prepared for stuff like that. If my dad hadn't saved his money, he wouldn't have the money to pay for the facility. Even though we all together can pay it, I could pay it by myself. But the thing is, he got the money, so he paying it. Because he saved. My parents always saved money. That's one thing I learned living in their house. Even though we didn't have a lot, but they put money away. My mom would make a penny scream. But they always taught us how to save money and how to budget and do stuff like that. So I'm not surprised at the fact that he has it. All right, introduction. The majority of Americans, and that's another reason why I want people to have their house paid off when they retire, because see, instead of you paying for a house, like it's another thing. See, my father don't have a car note because he don't really drive. Really, he got one car. He don't have a house note. So all the money, instead of going to the car and the house, he go to the bank. So that's another financial class. The majority of Americans age 65, 85 and over live with family. Now, there's a myth thinking that most people 85 live in nursing home. That's not true. They did a survey on this. They either live with family or in their own home with support rather than living in a nursing home. In other words, their family supporting them stay in the house, or they living with a member in their house. While 10% live in nursing homes. So, but the thing about it though, a lot of people still live with their spouses and adult children, so they have support, so they don't have to go to a nursing home. But you go to a nursing home, there's always a story about somebody in a nursing home, why they in there. If you ask somebody, why are you in a nursing home, where your family at? Some people just ain't got nobody. And that's why they in there. Like my great uncle, Fleming, my grandfather's brother, he never got married, never had no kids. So, and he was the youngest child. So when he died, he had nobody to take care of him. They had to put him in a nursing home. His nephew, his brother Johnny's sister-in-law, wife helped him, but he had nobody else. He had no choice. He had to go to a nursing home because he had nowhere to go. Now, they also can live alone, either in their own home or in independent assisted living. So, so the myth is only about 10% of people live in nursing homes. So the rest of them are living either by themselves, they're living with their children, or they live in assisted living, or they're homeless. And we're gonna talk about that too, because we got elderly people out there that's homeless. Everybody drive down the Green Street where the bridge is? Don't you see people under there? They live under that bridge. I was looking at Channel 6 News. They had a 80-year-old veteran out there. It was hot, and the sheriff's department was going around He picked him out because he was a veteran. And they, see, one thing about being a veteran, you can go live, the VA got spaces you can live at. A lot of people don't know that. So they found him a place, VA found him a place to stay where he was sheltered. He was sitting out there under the bridge in a chair. And so they was looking for veterans in particular because they know that the VA has a facility. They converted some of the buildings down there at the Uptown VA over there on Riceboro Road. They got rooms over there. And as long as you showed that you was a veteran, you had armor discharge, and you was in more than 6 months, you can get in. And if you're the war veteran, you can get into the Georgia War Veteran Home place right across the street from the VA. Y'all, they call it the Blue Goose. You ever heard that? A lot of people don't know that. See, so I'm a veteran and I'm a war veteran, so I'm already looking at all of this stuff, believe me. So either way, I'm going to, I got all the options on the table. But then if you got family members who are armor discharge veterans with 6 months of service or more, or they've been veteran and they've been to a combat zone, they have choices here in Augusta. But a lot of people just don't know about what the choices are. And plus, another thing I found out about the facility that my father's in, if you're a veteran, armor discharged with 6 months or more service, the VA would pay 20% of that bill. Because she asked me, is your father a veteran? I said, no. I said, why you ask? He said, because they'll pay 20% of his cost. Now, I didn't know that. I know it now. So if I go to assisted living, if I have to go, well, they're going to pay 20% of my bill. Or I can go to the VA and get me a room, one or two, which I probably want. I know me, I'd rather be in an assisted living facility, so at least I can put some stuff in there, whatever. All right, discussion one. Anybody got any questions? Now, you can ask questions as I go. You don't have to wait till the end, because I've got several other questions I want to ask anyway. Multiple living options for someone 85 years or older, living with family. Okay, about 50% of Americans 85 and older live with family members who include their spouse or adult children. So most 50% live with the family. So we don't, it's always that image of you think of everybody that, no, everybody's not in the nursing home. I mean, Miss Mother Holloway, where's she at? She at home. And she should be taken care of because how many of y'all? 6, 7? Y'all can do 24 hours a day. I mean, she doesn't have to worry about nothing. All of y'all, that's a good thing about having a bunch of kids. So she should have to do nothing. Y'all can take her to the doctor. Y'all can cook for her, clean the house, And Wanda retired, right? So did she spend a lot of time over there? Yes. So, because me and Wanda went to school together. High school, school all the way through elementary and high school. So the thing is, Miss Mother Holloway is a good example of being taken care of by her kids. Is Daryl helping too? Okay. He what? Oh, he does the yard. Okay. I ain't seen Daryl since he was, I don't know the last time I seen him physically. I seen a picture of him that Tammy showed me not too long ago. All right, so I didn't know the percentage of people. Let's go to page 4. Okay, number 2, living alone. More than 35% of those 85 and older live alone, often in their own home or in independent or assisted living. Because even though you may be in an assisted living facility, you still living alone. Because most people are not gonna have. They don't have no roommates unless this is their spouses. Because I noticed when I went down to the assisted living place, my father said, you got a lot of couples living there, and they done sold their house, they done downsized, and they living together in facility, and they have, bigger rooms, like an extra bedroom, separate bedroom for that. My father's in like a studio, where everything's in one room. And so you see that. So, you got a lot of people, couples, that's what they do. They sell their property, they downsize, they get rid of the stuff they don't need, and they take all that money plus their Social Security and their Medicare, and that's how they live the rest of their life. Multi-generational households. Now, generational households. You don't see it that much, but Now that 25% number is part of that number one. So if you are adding it up, don't look at me like I don't know how to do math. That 25% number three is part of that 50% of number one. It's part of that number. Of 85 years old, live in a multi-generational home household with people of two or more generations. For example, grandparents, parents, and children in the same house, all live in the same place, or you have, a parent and an adult. I mean, like I grew up, my great grandmother lived with my grandparents, and she lived with my dad and his sisters. So they was all three of them in there. And sometimes I remember my dad's first cousin. When I was a child, when I was a baby, I was living in there with my mom. So we came up in there. Then Dwayne was born, and then we all was up in there. and then my dad's first cousin, something happened with them, and her husband. She came in. That's a Lee family, Landis Lee and all them. Then they moved in, and Junior Lee and Gail Lee. So that big old house, that farmhouse had multi-generation bunch of people. I remember that house, it was always full of people. But everybody got along. But now you try to do that. People just not going to do it. Nursing homes, only a small percentage, around 10% live in nursing home or memory care. Now that's another thing too, because a lot of people need memory care now. And so a lot of these facilities are adding on separate, in nursing homes and in the assisted living, they're adding on memory care facilities, and they get more care because they have to watch them, because they'll walk out. So you may need memory care. Who knows? I don't know. What we gonna need? Homeless. Okay, about 5% of elderly are homeless. Either they live in a shelter facility like the Salvation Army shelter or whatever, or live outside unsheltered. Oh yeah, you go out on the Green Street and you just ride up down Green Street. You see all the people sitting out there, they all over the place. I was down there last week. They homeless. Now, why they homeless? I don't know. They could be because some people are homeless. They have mental issues. They don't want to live with nobody. They're unruly. They can't. They just. All kind of reasons. Some of those veterans down there, especially those Vietnam veterans, they may be shell shocked. They may have PTSD. But I don't know. I mean, if you know somebody that's homeless, ask them, why are you homeless? I mean, you can help them, get a meal or give them some money, but they're homeless for a reason. Something's going on. I don't think most people want to live outside during the winter with no shelter. Okay. I think I'm going to finish on time, even though I was a little late. Okay, let me see. I think I went one page too long. Okay, page 4, discussion number 2. The average cost of living facility. Now we're going to talk about what it costs to stay in these facilities. I broke it down by Georgia because Georgia is cheaper than the average in the United States. So the average cost of assisted living in Georgia is around $4,120 a month. If you live in assisted living, you got to pay that yourself. So a lot of people, like my my grandmother on my mother's side, she lived in an assisted living facility. And the reason why she was able to pay for it was because she had a Social Security and she had a pension from Georgia, because she used to work at the Youth Development Center right down over here on Tobacco Road. And that's when they had what they call those den mothers. I don't know if y'all remember that. They used to have those den mothers down there. So she had a pension. So, and then we helped with the rest of it. In-home costs in Georgia is about $25 an hour. You need 7 days a week. It's $4,000 to $5,000 a month. You got to pay that out your pocket. That's why it's good to have your house paid off. And because if you, it just the way it is, and have your 401k, some savings, Nursing home costs. In Georgia, the cost of nursing home care varies depending on the types of room and location. Semi-private room averages around $7,939 per month, while a private room averages $8,365 per month. But see, Medicaid pays a lot of that. Everybody I know that's in the nursing home is getting Medicaid. but they don't have nothing. Do anybody know anybody in nursing home right now? Or know of someone in nursing home? Okay, how it being paid for? The Medicare part is easy. That's just the medical, but about the living part, that's where Medicaid come in at. Do you think that person is paying for that money out of their pocket? They're living in nursing home? Okay, wait a minute. Go ahead, hold up. You got the mic. You got get. Who's first? Who raised their hand first?
No, I work in been working in nursing home for almost 26, 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of the residents there are Medicaid recipients.
Right.
And Medicaid pays, long as they, apply for in-home long-term care.
Right.
In the nursing home. They just still have to apply for it, even though they get Medicaid in the community. And then they have to apply for it for the nursing home. And if they meet those requirements, then Medicaid covers their stay, their room and board,
Right.
and then actually give them a certain amount of money every month that they can have for minor little
Right.
expenses. But other than that, the majority of them are
Yeah.
Medicaid.
I have a friend at work. His mother had needed memory care. They put her in a nursing home. They had to pay out of pocket until she sold her house, sold her car. She had to get rid of her insurance policy, which I thought was wow. And she basically had to get down to having hardly nothing before Medicaid would kick in. Same thing, I know this lady at work, same thing. Her mother, all she had was a trailer, but she had to put that trailer, they had to take the trailer from her and put it in their name. She had to get rid of her insurance policy. It's only $10,000. They don't want you to have nothing. That's why I say you got to be almost destitute. Go ahead.
I see, I have a cousin, and I think there's a nursing home here in Pruitt or whatever, right off of Winter Spring Road, Dean Bridge Road. Peach Orchard Road, excuse me. But anyway, he told me that everything he get, but he have nothing. Everything he get from whatever little checks
Medicare,
he get.
Medicaid, yeah.
And
his job, and his Social Security, they
They
it all.
get it all.
Yep.
Now, I didn't know what Sister Marcella just said, that they give you some. I guess, I don't know if he on Medicaid or not, but from what I understand from him, they take everything he
They
got.
take everything. My grandmother, on my mama's side, they took her Social Security, they took her pension, and she didn't really have anything because, they had the old shotgun house out there on, now it was Sunset Avenue right across from Josie's, but now it was Sunset Avenue, now it's S.C. Macker Boulevard. And, she didn't have nothing. But that's the only way that they can get it down to pay for it. But see, until they qualify for Medicaid, somebody got to pay the difference until Medicaid kicks in, and they had to pay. We had to pay for my grandmother, and they had to pay, the people I work with, they had to pay until Medicaid kicked in. Yes.
And also, they say that if you're planning on going to the nursing home, that you distribute your assets to your children.
That's right. That's what they did. They had to do that. They didn't know that till she got in there.
Before,
They didn't know that.
yeah, at least 5
They
years
found
before
out
you get
when they
into-
admitted her. Yeah. But see, a lot of people don't know the rules until somebody go in there. And then that's when all that had to happen. Because one guy at work, he had to hire a lawyer to do all this stuff. He bought her car, took it out her name from her, but he couldn't put the money in her account because they were counted against her. I'm telling you. It's crazy. After listening to those two, I said, man, then I know my own experience with my grandparents and stuff like that. You either got to have your own stuff or you got to have nothing. Period. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. Okay. Medicaid in Georgia basically pays 100% of nursing home costs for elderly individuals, but only after they meet specific financial and medical criteria. They have to be in a certain medical condition, and they have to meet the financial limitations. To qualify, individuals must have limited income and assets, almost no assets, and require a nursing facility level or care. whatever that means. I didn't feel like looking it up. I figured Marcella would answer that question. If eligible, Medicaid covers room and board as well as the necessary medical and non-medical services. Number 4, okay, your adult children. I didn't have an answer for this one. I said whatever they charge you to stay with them. They charge you, or you pay the light bill or get some groceries, whatever. I don't know what your kid's gonna do if you move in there. Okay, mom, you got Social Security check now. You gotta pay something. You eat all my food. You using my electricity. You taking showers every day. Okay, now we gotta figure out what you're gonna pay, because you're not paying nothing right now. So because we taking care of you. So you get money every month. You don't drive no more. I'll let y'all figure that out between yourselves. Question number 3, how many quality of life years do you want to live? Quality of life. I didn't say live until, you knocked out, you don't even know who you are anymore. Quality of life. You know what quality of life means? That you got your senses, you can do certain things. I'm saying 90 for me. And I'm doing everything I can to have a good quality of life. And so far, God has blessed me where I've had no medical issues, where I've been admitted to a hospital, no surgery, no nothing. I ain't never slept in a hospital before, never. That's very unusual, but I thank God for it. Question number 5, do you have a family member? Question number 3, what I do? I must got out of order with the questions. How many do you have a family member that live in an assisted living facility or something? Somebody already said they do? Anybody got a family member that's living, like my dad's in assisted living? Anybody in your family, extended family, anybody? It ain't got to be your mom or your dad. It could be a cousin, it could be a great uncle, great aunt. Y'all don't have no friends in nursing homes? Somebody got to be in there, because Marcella worked in one for 26 years. Somebody got to be in there. And I already gave you my examples. My grandmother on my mama's side was nursing home. Was in an assisted living facility. And, my dad's in one now. All right, last couple Bible scriptures. Proverbs 16:31. Everybody Bible said the silver-haired head. So everybody here got gray hair, whether it's out or covered up, is a crown of splendor and glory. It is found in the way of righteousness. So, I don't know. Bible said gray hair look good. The crown, the silver-haired head. Isaiah 46:4, Amplified Bible. Even to your old age, I am he. And even to your advanced age, I will carry you. I have made you, and I will carry you. Be assured, I will carry you, and I will save you. Now I'm telling you what, that motivated me. Just looking at that today. Remember, your faith in God, your blessings from God, your financial wisdom, your financial stewardship equals. This is my philosophy. Your financial prosperity. Any questions? Any comments? And I only went over 5 minutes, and I was 10 minutes late. Isn't that something? Any questions or comments? Okay. Because we got people on Facebook that listen to this right now.
This is when you were talking about the retirement age. Mm-hmm. And my question was, now, I done heard way back 2 or 3 years ago, my retirement was 66 and some months.
What year was you born?
59.
59 is 66 and 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last year before everybody is born from 60 on, got to be 67.
Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to know.
You be 66 and 10 months, you can get your full Social Security and
got
work
a little nervous.
And you can work as much as you want and don't get penalized. But you got to make sure you're 66 years and 10 months. So the best thing to do is just go over a couple of months. Just wait till you turn this because you can do your Social Security application 4 months out, just in case you hit the wrong button. Because if you hit the wrong button by 1 month, if you work, they're gonna take their money out. You make too much.
Oh no.
Because right now, you can't go down there. You got to do everything online now. Because you try to go to the Social Security office down there now, you talk to people, they say, you ain't going to get in there. Because they done cut it. You know the Dodge? Y'all heard of Dodge, right? Elon Musk? They done cut. Try to call Social Security and see how long you wait. You better have 3 hours. Everything's online. They don't want people. AI done took over. They cutting, the government cutting money. Cutting people discriminately. Any other questions? All right, that'll be it then. Hope y'all learned something from this. I mean, I've been doing some scary stuff lately. Sunday wasn't fun either. I don't like getting bad news, but sometimes you got to do to get people, you know. So if you can wait till you 66 in 10 months, man, you can make all the money you want. We got a guy at work, man, he 80 years old. He making more money he made his whole life. He gonna walk out of there, they're gonna carry him out on a stretcher. Still working. Oh, he don't care about that. He tell him we'll die somewhere. I would die at work. He'll look at you and tell you that in a minute. All right, well, thank y'all.